Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live. This is a Wall Street view from the Singular Research Best of the Uncovered 9th Annual Conference right here in Bel Air, California. I have with me Mr. Jeremy Hellman, Director of Research for Singular Research. It's a private company. Jeremy, welcome to a Wall Street view.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you. Let's get right into it. What does Singular do?
Singular focuses on covering undercovered companies in the space. So we're looking for companies that have exciting stories to tell that really are undercovered by other firms in the street. So we're looking for companies with no coverage where we can unearth what are really attractive investment ideas and really relay that out to the street and create value for a lot of different people that way.
Okay, so here's the question. Is it that there is too little research around to cover the stocks, or are there too few stocks to be covered?
Interesting question. I think, what's happened going back a number of years after the whole settlement following the dot-com crash, you had a big rollback of research in the small company space by the big investment banks, the big tier one firms, where they weren't able to go in and support the research through investment banking dollars. So when that contraction happened, it created a lot of opportunity for firms like Singular Research to come in, do quality work. Our analysts are predominantly CFA charter holders who really know what they're doing. They're industry veterans that can come in and really provide research coverage that isn't there anymore for some of these small companies, which provides a valuable service both for the company and the investor.
So, we have an audience of investors, accredited investors, even professionals out there that watch a lot of these videos. Mm-hmm. So, as a, seat of the pants analyst like myself, what are three things that you look for when uncovering a company to cover?
Okay, that's a good question. I think quality of management is certainly high on the list. When you're talking about smaller companies, and it's not to say that management at an IBM or an Apple is irrelevant. Management is highly relevant, of course. But with smaller companies, management decisions, I think, are more critical in the sense that a wrong decision can sometimes be near fatal to a smaller company. So having top shelf management is certainly key. I think a second one is you have to have a quality business model. Are you selling something, a product or a service that people want? That certainly makes life a lot easier. And then last thing, I think it's always good when you're looking for these smaller companies. I think a lot of people invest in this space because you're looking for really outsized gains. I don't think most people invest in the space looking for 4 and 5% returns. And so you're looking for, I think, businesses that are scalable, that can have revenues go from 50 million to 100 million to 500 million to $1 billion over time. And I think that's where things get really exciting.
What is your specific consideration of what an undervalued small cap or micro cap company would be?
I think what you see happen is there's some structural elements in the market that create almost like a predisposition to undervalue because you have your legacy financial advisors and brokers at the old wirehouses that can't buy these stocks in many instances, or you've got the big fund managers. And I like to try and frame it through the prism of someone who's managing a multi-billion-dollar fund. Can they buy a meaningful position in the company's stock in the public market, and meaningful enough that it will move their needle at year end for their returns? And for many of these smaller companies, that's a tough thing to overcome. And so you have this kind of a structural element where companies have to appeal to smaller money managers or individual investors, like you mentioned, that are often the first to the party. And then when the company executes and does well, then that's where you have opportunity for gains as the company goes through that evolution to larger and larger shareholders.
How small is small for Singular?
That's a good question. We don't have a hard line in the sand. What we want is we want to find companies that are investable for our institutional clients. And so our institutional clients will range from the largest fund managers out there, which would be common names that you've heard of, down to smaller funds. And so the larger the market cap within that undercovered universe, then the more of our clients can find that investable and therefore place value on the research. But we'll cover companies that'll be down to 50 million that have a good story and have some exciting potential ahead.
Do you cover agnostically, or are you sector focused?
We're generalists. Within our analyst roster, we've got some individuals that skew to certain industries, whether it be having some background or personal affinity. I think for the analysts that, whether singular or anywhere really, where there is an interest and a personal enjoyment of a space, the work is going to be incrementally better than if we tap someone and say, go cover this, but they don't really know the space well. So we've got a couple analysts that I think skew to healthcare, for example, but generally speaking, we're generalists.
Now you look ahead, 2015 is right around the corner. What do you see for micro-cap, small-cap stocks?
I think that, what's happened is services like yours that exist in a space that provide a lot of coverage, if you will, and intelligence on these companies that increase visibility. I think that just only helps a lot of these smaller companies. I think where we've got economic growth, it's not like it was back in the day, but we still have growth, and I think that as long as we have a growing economy, that's going to be good. As long as the financial system is healthy, then we have access to capital. I think for smaller companies, access to capital is certainly key. And I think as long as those pieces of the puzzle are intact, I think we probably have a bright future ahead.
Jeremy, I want to ask you a question. In today's world, where does a small cap, micro cap company even go to get research? You said earlier the wirehouses, forget about it. You can't even go near it. So where do you go?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's it's not like it used to be. Certainly, the number of people, firms in the space are limited compared to what it used to be. I think some of it comes about through a lot of the firms will use third-party investor relations professionals that network with individuals such as myself that will put quality ideas in front of us and ask us to take a look at their companies. I think that's a great conduit. And know that we're always looking. If you've got a good company that is doing well, that's one thing that we're doing on a daily basis. Both myself as the director of research and our analysts too. We're always looking for good ideas. So if you're doing well and you've got a good story, it has a way of getting out there. Sometimes you'd be surprised, but we're always looking for the ideas, and so it's whether it's reading, doing screens, just networking, talking to people. That's a benefit of being around for a while, is you develop a lot of contacts, and and it's reading publications such as yours. It's for management of smaller companies. Sometimes having to market your stock is a big part of the game, and so it's definitely something that I would advise management to place emphasis on where need be, not to the detraction of running your company, but you need to treat it as something that needs to be done professionally, and I would certainly urge all management teams to do that.
Great segue. What's your website?
It's www.singularresearch.com, and that's the R in singular and the R in research, so 2 R's in the middle there.
And what's your email, or if someone wants to contact your firm with a report or something?
Okay. My email is Jeremy, Jeremy, @singularresearch.com. And there's also research@singularresearch.com.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Hellman, Singular Research. I'm Shelley Craft. This is a Wall Street View. We're at the Singular Research Best of the Uncovereds, the 9th annual one of these conferences, and we're at the Lux Hotel in Bel Air, California. Thanks again, Jeremy, for coming on.
Thanks, Shelley. Appreciate your time.